everybody should know how to play. It's going to be G2 banning out first, which means they will also be on defense. Last time they got rid of a Ying and a Maestro. This time it's going to be, looks like, to start things off the very same as Ying gets banned out. And we saw Monty banned by Penta, though it didn't seem to change much. G2 ended up just bringing a Blitz, and it honestly looked super powerful. So instead, Penta will ban Glaz. I'm actually really surprised by that, to be honest with you. You stated that maybe we saw some G2 Glaz play, but it honestly wasn't that big of a deal. Penta brought out Glaz quite a lot more, and that also didn't change very much. It wasn't a very influential pick, but still, I'm surprised that they've not tried to get rid of one of the shield operators that G2 seems so keen on utilizing.
I mean, in defense of the Glaz ban, Border does tend to be one of the maps where Glaz's ban rate soars over the others.
Yeah.
It seems like Bank and Border he has banned on more often than not. And a lot of the times, it's not necessarily because it's a comfort pick or a counter pick. It's done because these operators have a very difficult style to counter on these maps. Bank in particular, but on Border, you can lock down half of the site on basically every single site that's in Border with 1 or 2 smokes from Glaz. And because of how confined Border is, it's very easy for the rest of Flank Watch to just box you out and make it impossible to retake.
So an interesting transition in the mentality behind that ban phase. But as we go into the actual prep phase, we will see Armory Lockers, the first site for G2. And Penta on attack have decided to bring kind of an interesting lineup. They've not brought a Habana, which is one of the more versatile hard destructors, instead of leaning on the Thermite, which makes a lot of sense, I think, on Armory especially, which is usually your first bomb site. They brought 2 sets of smokes, but because of their own Glaz ban, they will not be able to see through those smokes, whereas on G2's side, they might have those bulletproof cameras in play. Although no, actually it doesn't seem like they will. Anyway, continuing on with Penta's roster, or rather lineup, brought quite a lot of soft destruction, which I think is sensible on this bomb site. You can attack quite a lot from below, opening up underneath the half wall, or bunker as some people call it, and sandwich, forcing people, and by people I mean G2, back from defending the A bomb site. One big thing to note though is that there is still Echo in play, and he is definitely a force to be reckoned with when it comes to site control.
So Penta starting on attack here. You got smokes available too. You got 4 of them actually, frag grenades, and Zofia being run by Penta. They've tended to be one of the very small number of teams that actually run Zofia still, and I'm actually very curious to talk to teams over the next couple weeks. If we see that Zofia's pick rate does fall, she had the 2nd highest pick rate on attack after Hibana. Last season, if I remember correctly, she might have even had the highest pick rate for a week or 2 in a couple different regions, and she's just so versatile. There are very few strategies where Zofia would not be a good fit in with your other 4 operators. In fact, her absence is why I think we've seen Ashe, we've seen Twitch, we've seen Sledge, we've seen even Finka see their pick rates jump. But I mean, also, we see more Ashe on LAN as well, so I mean, that could be a reason for that too.
We also saw Penta in their previous match against Space Station playing Ashe and Zofia, placing special emphasis on that fragging potential.
Yeah. And it looks like it's going to be an Armory take here, though, Michael, as that tends to be where all the pieces of Penta's strategy are setting up. You got the Capital and the Thermite as your 2 primary entries here for this execute. Is once you get the wall open, the Thermite will walk into plant, likely under the cover of smoke from Hungry, but he's actually used, or no, my apologies, he hasn't. He still has his 2 asphyxiating bolts, and there we go. Bit of concussion grenade here as Pengu actually misses his impact and will concede the wall, but there's Kanto to take down enemies, so that hard destruction will only net them 1 exothermic charge as the Thermite is gone from action.
Wall being open though, and to have accomplished the goal that they set out to accomplish, it's just not going to give them very much, to be completely honest. They've already used a lot of their utility on the initial attempt to push in through that wall, and it was not successful. Panic's eating a lot of damage from those Legion traps, and he will pull it out, but Bobby, the Legion himself, will get the kill. after detecting his opponent. And a nice flick, but no landed shots. Pistol out, and oh, a down Capitao! Fabian fighting tooth and nail, but he finally gets shut down in customs. Though I have to say, damage done, mission accomplished, Fabian. Can't really say no to that one.
Hungry will get picked back up though, so that could have been a possible kill that G2 is going to leave on the table here. Pengu taking enough damage from that asphyxiating bolt, while Upright to now be put into the down but not out stage. And Revan with the C75 in hand eliminates Cantor Ricchetti. Another set of trades as Penta will add one with Goga taking out Hungry and then immediately dying. All waiting Revan just alongside the plant. Revan will go down, but no, they don't get Sir Boss. He's completely immobile and vulnerable while holding the diffuser in his hand. And a golf clap goes through the audience here as G2 takes round number 1.
Well deserved, as that was a pretty incredible clutch from G2, all things considered. Penta seemed to be in full control in the later end of that round, something that they excel at. You can count G2 out early on, but they almost always bounce back. And that's exactly what we saw. Now, a lot of that I think has to do with how much damage Fabian was able to do in customs. He not only distracted and wasted time and managed to get a kill or two, but also doing just damage to the people who survived the engagement. So props to Fabian for that. Ventilation as the second site. Surprise, surprise. We load in, will be the standard fare for G2. They brought a castle, also not a huge surprise on this. Parker, you remember when people thought castle was bad? I mean, sorry, there are people who still think that, but remember when like public opinion was so against him, you know, like saying that he really needed a buff?
I mean, there was a period of time over Season 5 and some of Season 6 where his pick rate was below 10% in Pro League, but as more and more of these projectile operators got added in, and then of course, Lion in particular, and the meta started to shift away from roamers doing most of the work to anchors and support doing most of the work, and right now we are in the age of the anchor, it seems, for this season and the coming season. Who better to protect your anchors and slow down the quick advances of attackers than our good old friend Castle? And yes, people who say Castle are bad are more than welcome to be entitled to their incorrect opinion.
Incorrect. Run out from Cantor Ricchetti will take down Panics. And that's a nice, well-placed headshot onto the Zofia. So lots of utility just eaten right up by G2. Interesting to see Kanto playing the Bandit, actually. It's usually an operator that Giannis will play, but I mean, it's still a Finn playing it, so I suppose it can work just as well.
The Finnish Flash.
Yes, that is a way to say it. Of course, it's a German operator, but Hungry takes down Giannis, the other Finnish player, on G2, and easy kill.
Oh man, sitting up top, watching the skylight and lobby all the way down. That is...
It's dedication, man.
That is, you never die from there and think to yourself, I am not angry. Every time you die from there, you're like, man, why was he up there?
To be honest, though, Giannis is a pretty level-headed player. I'm sure if he is angry, he's keeping it internalized so that he doesn't distract his team. Though, speaking of his team, Fabian will be taken down by Servas, and Ravan will actually get another one. Goga goes down, so it's just Kanto and Pengu. Two clutch masters, but Penta are looking in great form in this round. They might be able to lock it out. And Ricchetti using a C4 to rotate back to the site. Definitely good utility there in this situation. Able to support his teammate now. The information is abundant, and Kanto loses the fight regardless. Sir Boss winning his, and Ravan will as well. Penta win their first round and the second of this map.
Pretty good entry after Kanto was able to stop the first push, and then after that, they bounced back. Panicked very deep in distraction.
Probably thinking about something.
Thinking about something.
Thinking about how to win the next round, I'm sure.
Possibly.
Probably.
We saw it in the intermission between the rounds that Fabian was like staring up into the sky, and I was wondering if he was thinking, when am I not going to be the best player in the world?
Oh boy. Yes, absolutely. Ventilation again from G2. No surprise there. We talk about usually how it's nice to, if you lose a site, rotate to another one. but I gotta be honest, on border, you got customs and tellers, and both of those are definitely viable bomb sites, but ventilation is gonna be so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
So last round, what happened to allow Penta to get that win? Well, G2's roamers got taken apart one by one. It all started with Jonas being eliminated from the skylight. As you pointed out very correctly, it's really odd to be killed from that skylight, and it does kind of piss you off no matter who you are.
I said you can't say swears, Mike.
Is that a swear? I actually didn't know that. Really?
5 seconds to insertion.
Parker, are you yanking my chain?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I know that when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to say that word.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I had to say tinkle.
Tinkle you? I can't say that. I can't finish that sentence. How is that worse? How is it worse?
Everything I just said was a lie.
Okay, thank you. I'm so happy.
I wanted to see.
Oh man, I knew you were yanking my chain. I couldn't.
I wanted to see what you would do. Is this guy serious right now?
Oh, you were blowing my mind for a little bit there, not gonna lie. All right, so the roamers from G2 were taken out one by one, and it all started with Jonas. And from there, Penta really struggled. Well, wait, no, they didn't struggle at all. That was a really definitive round. G2 struggled to recover, and, well, they couldn't.
It looked like it was just loose play off-site by G2, and it put Pengu and, I believe it was Goga, in just a position that was very difficult for them to come back from at that point, especially with the big numbers advantage. And Border tends to be one of those maps where if you have a numbers advantage and you don't get caught on your own, you typically end up winning because there's just no chance to catch these players and walk away without the other team refragging. So difficult here as takes about a minute and a half. Exothermic charge opening up the wall into office with Jonas, as well as Castle of Pengu. Not too far off. Jonas does have these soft walls to his right inside a fountain. This could be a great opportunity here to jump in and grab him. That's exactly what Sir Boss is going to do. He just straight up pulverizing the pulses around the corner here by this half wall, positioned just outside of the office and archives adjoiner.
Also going to establish firm control of the top floor for Penta as the rest of G2 has just, well, fallen back. And I think the right call in that situation. Little time left, and well, frags are still coming out for Penta as Pengu goes down. Cantor waiting with C4 on hand for the frag to walk to him, but it's not happening just yet. Goga also looking up. They're waiting for the opportunities. Penta, though, not giving them in abundance. C4 going to miss, and Cantor a little bit of wasted utility there. He really needed that to hit so he could even things out for his team. There is no Valkyrie, but Penta will be looking for those potential cameras.
Logic Bomb will just give away everybody on G2's position as Fabian lies prone, likely to try and evade any gunfire over top of him. The rest of G2 on site right now, knowing that there's going to have to be a push. There's not a ton of time left, just 10 seconds. And Cantor losing the fight to Sir Boss. It's been so good. Fabian gets 2 rewarded for his efforts by taken out by Hungry. Now Goga cannot silence Sir Boss, and Penta will find their very first victory on Vents. Or rather, my apologies, they won Vents. It's their second victory in the third round here. I don't know how to words. It's their first lead.
That is true.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So this is going to be a tactical pause by a G2 to try and reassert themselves as the ones in control of this match. And I think this is good timing. Losing 2 in a row on the same bomb site, not an easy thing to stomach. They get to go to Armory though next, so that's going to be very comfortable.
I think this was a match that honestly started with lighthearted intentions between the two teams. And at some point on Villa, things got real serious real fast. And I think we are now in the midst of a matchup that is far more important than I think both teams were anticipating heading in. I know that not to downplay the significance of winning it all and being able to hoist that trophy, but the real prize was won in the semifinals by Penta. And at that point, you could walk away quite happy. But both teams, it's their mannerisms and their body language and all that jazz, they don't really look like they're here for a fun time. They both want victory in mind. And I think no matter what, both these teams will be happy to walk home with the win.
And you're definitely right. At the beginning, G2 and Penta both were jubilant. You know, they were going into this match, you know, smiles on their faces, just like, yeah, we'll get whatever we get out of this, it's all right. But that's quickly subsided, and definitely a very focused G2 right now as they head into the round. You can hear it from the ticking that we're gonna get back into it in just a second. The tactical pause has been finished. Now, again, Armory, the site that G2 gets to go to on this round, is they did win it last time they were here, but it was the first round, and they've lost 2 ventilation in a row. So we're back.
Attackers
The
need
standard.
to locate and defuse as many bombs as
Though
they
I have
can.
to say, if G2 is not able to figure out how to successfully defend ventilation, then either they need to go somewhere else and try their best at that, or they need to, or they're gonna struggle to win this map. It's really that simple. And that could push us to map number 3, Clubhouse, if we get to it. Now, the setup on our Armory going to be very much the same as it usually is from G2. You can see that quite clearly. Last time Penta came here, they pushed into the A wall, and they actually looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, Penta looked like they were gonna be able to win that attack. Ended up losing in the end. I believe Tianos, who clutched it out, has the pulse, the C4, and killing the last attacker on 000, attempting to plant the diffuser deep in sight. That's the big thing. Penta, shades of vitality as they attack excruciatingly slow. They come down to the last couple seconds before they start their assault. Big difference is, I have to say it, the Penta formula, when they're attacking late, they are actually pretty lethal. It's been working out pretty well for them. I mean, it got them to the finals. Whereas,
I don't know how much I would say that it's an exact replica, though. Of
no,
Vitality,
it's
right?
certainly
Vitality
shades of.
Shades of. I think in the sense that they wait and they try to gather all of their all the info that they need before they can execute on it. But the thing too with Vitality is that half the time nobody from Vitality is even in the building until the final 40 seconds.
Yeah, and that was a problem for them for a long time.
Yes, and it is going to be a problem for them moving forward as well.
Yeah.
As they look to try to come back here into Pro League, as they, of course, were relegated at the hands of ENCE. But this matchup in particular, saw G2 playing very loose against Penta, and especially with Kanto Ricchetti, spawn peak, and then a couple positions where there was just no refrag because they thought they could walk away with it, but they're just being outgunned, and there have been actually a couple of opportunities that seemed to be strongly favoring G2, but it was Penta who just simply landed the shots better, and that was really all that mattered, those interactions.
Definitely something that Penta used in their matchup against Space Station Gaming just prior in the semifinal. Winning the fight is the name of the game for this lineup, but Fabian's gonna win his against Ravon and establish an early lead for G2 over by the east stairs. And most of the action going to the A wall, pushing towards Armory is Penta's priority, but it's just enemy by himself right now. And you can see Sir Boss is starting to come over here to support him, but a light focus on the site push seemingly right now. Maybe trying to hunt down the roamers. I'm not entirely sure what the game plan is for Penta, but more of the same. I'm not exactly surprised. It seems like Penta's just using the time, as they usually do, to try and establish as much control as they can before they start their site push.
They've got pretty good site control, or they've got pretty good map control, rather. You've got the IQ down below. That's going to be a good spot to be in, especially with Goga on this drone. Not only is he going to get picked up as the drones are being used, but he's going to get off the drone, actually. It's refragged immediately from Hungary, so that was it. That's what I said, the IQ from below in a great spot to take out the Echo, even though Goga does get the kill that's needed. Well, he's going to be deprived of the usage of those yokais in plant. Denial. Panics, being spoiled by a default camera, missing his shots there as G2 ends up extending. That was the first kill. It turns it into 3. They'll tie it up now at 2 apiece. Speaking of missing their shots, that duel with Panics.
Oh, yeah.
That was not exactly what you want when you have the drop on somebody coming towards 90 as he did. He shot out the default cam and knew he would be pushed. That's good game sense, but couldn't relay that game sense to mechanical ability in that particular instance.
Yeah, I admit the SMGs have pretty fast ADS speed, but really you should have been able to win that fight. He was predicting the rotation from the pulse there and still managed to lose it. Now, that was not, in my opinion, the only thing that cost Penta that round. A big part of that was the A-wall push, something that Penta has been struggling with. They keep setting themselves up to take into A-wall, but seemingly not putting enough emphasis on it. I'm not really sure what it is, to be honest. They were so spread out as a team, all over the place, trying to push from the main hallway and the A-wall. A-wall push was torn apart, and then after that, there was no one to refrag, allowing G2 to easily shift their focus and finish off the remainder of Penta. Okay, now here's the big trip up for G2 though, going back to Vent. And
2 unsuccessful defenses.
yeah, so this has been the bane of G2 so far on this map.
Nobody cared who I was till I had to defend the vents.
Really? What is?
10 seconds
Where's
to
the
go.
connection?
You said the bane of their existence.
Oh.
5 seconds to go.
You ruin the joke if you have to explain it.
Attackers are moving.
You know that's my bad. That's my bad. You didn't have to make it though. No, that's my bad. All right. Moving on, ventilation, again, 3rd time's the charm, hopefully for G2. On the other hand, Penta certainly want to extend what was their lead, or regain it, as it were. So they have to start with clearing off these roamers upstairs. We have 3 of them. Kantorketi, Pengu, and Jonas all upstairs. They're just looking to delay as long as possible. It's gonna be clear from the east for Penta, and it'll start with a kill onto the pulse of Jonas. Good start there for Penta. They've got to face Pengu playing inside of Archives.
Hard loss here too on your pulse when looking at ventilation and workshop, because you're able to give so much of that horizontal plane in front of you to the rest of your team from that cardiac sensor. Keep in mind that 9 meters range of the sensors. There's a long way on border, especially given that there's not a lot that separates the bomb from the attackers. Fabian a double kill as he runs out. He'll be rewarded with the Thermite and Thatcher duo. The OGs, as you would call them, always running together all the way back in year 1, season 1, and onwards.
Oh, geez. That was a long time ago.
I heard you played the game then.
Yes, I did. I did, Parker. I still play the game, just not professionally any longer.
That's okay. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for asking. Glad you're interested. Upstairs, lots of action going down as Penta delayed by the Yokai drone. A Sophia lifeline will be useless in that situation to negate the effects. Buck pushing his way into Archives has been called out by the Yokai drone. Again, great use from Goga, and it's gone undetected inside Archives. Phone call there will buzz down. Kantorketi giving away his position.
I think they knew that there was going to be a counter push. There's a smart read from Penta to drop off, timed well with the logic bomb, and panics from above, obliterating Kantorketi while trying to turn off his ringing mobile device before the movie begins. Panic still has that open hole above him as he looks over top of B. He's giving a mark to get things opened up. Now he still has 3 breaching charges, so he could use these, but I mean, when you got a Buck there, it's as good of a tool as any. Sir Boss and Panics not just have good weapons in their hands, but also the ability to catch any of the defenders as they rotate out. And speaking of rotate, it's Pengu who will grab Panics, but the UMP's low damage, cannot get the kill needed. Fabian eliminated by Revan means that we're gonna have to see Pengu try to get back to site in a hurry. You see those Yokai drones, the marks, but Goga cannot control the recoil in that bearing 9. And Pengu with that UMP have to deal with the 3 members of Penta who are moment trying to stop the defuse going down, and while Pengu looks the wrong way, Panic's doing a great job of guarding that diffuser. That's gonna be it for G2 on this round, and the Penta Alpaca, as it's called, gets a spotlight there. Thank you to our camera worker for that.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful alpaca, stuffed animal. All right.
Liven had one, or Liven, depending on your accent. He picked up one at DreamHack Montreal as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They were selling them at DreamHack Montreal.
Is that where he got that one? Or
I don't know about the Penta Alpaca if they got it from that, but I do know that the one that Liven got for Millennium was from DreamHack Montreal.
Oh.
It's a nice tradition if they buy these animals at these DreamHacks and just bring them around with them.
I've seen a lot of stuffed animals on desks in esports. I feel like it's pretty common.
Zig won a championship with a little stuffed horse.
Yeah.
She brought with him here as well.
Do you think that's why Liquid... Oh, no, you said he brought him here.
He did bring the horse.
Yeah.
You're going to say, is that why Liquid won?
No, I was going to say, is that why Liquid's been struggling lately? They didn't have the horse.
Yeah, he had the horse.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he had the horse here.
Well, G2 on the back foot. Penta able to establish a lead, and well-deserved, as they have been fighting very well, honestly, against G2. You don't often see teams win as many fights as against G2 as Penta has been. It's honestly really impressive, and I look forward to seeing if they can keep that trend going, maybe bring us to a map number 3 in these finals.
This is Penta's map, and you'd imagine that they would do well here, but I mean, G2 typically, Border's been one of their best maps. I think it was actually Siege GG. Just want to give a shout out to them and all the work that they've done for us in the scene, providing statistics. But I believe that they tweeted ages ago, not recently, but a while back, that this is one of statistically G2's best maps. Got a pretty broad sample, or a pretty large sample size actually to go off of, and G2 typically does quite well here. So we're gonna see is, once again, Ventilation Workshops just does not work. So they're gonna go down to bathroom, and maybe something goes right this time. But with this site, you know things can go catastrophically wrong very fast.
Well, it's worth noting, Ventilation is the only site that Penta has managed to win. So clearly G2 has a problem defending that site, and I really can't fault them for going to bathroom tellers, even though, yeah, generally speaking, this is the inferior bomb site.
I'm surprised we're not seeing customs here. It's because this is going to be the last defense of G2. They're not going to have a crack at it. We might see Penta go with it.
Maybe.
I mean, even then, with Mira being banned as she is,
it's not a great site.
Customs is not a great site either without a Mira, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, we've seen successful customs defenses without a Mira. It's so hard to pull off. Penta have been trying to work their way into the top 4, and they've actually been successful in that endeavor, able to thermite the wall. Hungry will also take down Fabian, and here you go. Penta establishing an early lead, as they have been throughout this match. They definitely seem capable of winning the fights on this map, especially. The boss slow peeking his way into offices, looking for another fight. It's Pengu playing this position. And he's gonna get a little aggressive here, looking for the buck. He will find him and land the shots, evening things out. Kantaruketti possibly down. Yes, he was reset by his teammates. Pengu gonna eat the lifeline, the phone call, and the flash all at once, but Panic's gonna win the fight as Pengu attempts to reassess that angle.
Admirable try. He got flashed, hit with a logic bomb, and then also hit with the Zofia concussive blast. Revan, after using the logic bomb with many phones still ringing, just trashes through Goga, but Jonas refrags immediately. The Pulse will have to quiet his own device, playing underneath the hatch, as the Pulse is on high alert. Penta still holds a numbers advantage. There's a drop through the hatch, trying to head over towards the site. Penta's actually in sight. It's going to be Enemy who's going to try to pull off this defuse, and he gets spotted, but Jonas a little too early. He anticipated a possible pre-fire from the thermite through that soft wall. It's going to be some great work from the upside down Hungry. Panic's taking out Kantaruketti, but Jonas is there, and there you have it. Hungry, who was upside down, tagged Jonas earlier on. We had one real way to look. Penta will emerge in the first half on attack, 4-2, giving G2 the opportunity at least 3 rounds to see what they can muster on attack. And Penta, it's very impressive what we've been seeing so far, and I've been really impressed with their drone work. And noticed it in the match against SSG, was there were many rounds where Space Station Gaming were basically on drones, being completely under surveillance, and none of them knew it. That's a huge strength. We talk about drone economy an awful lot, and teams that just kind of throw their drones away with reckless abandon don't really have a lot of thought process behind exactly when you'll need them, where you can leave them, etc. Whether you want them as, you know, possibly watching a flank, whether you want them watching sight, whether you save them in the, you know, the drone phase, etc. But Penta's one of their biggest strengths here. They've been doing an excellent job passing that information along, and most importantly, having that info after the execute happens, or after you manage to have your entry, because by then it's very common for teams to end up intel starved, losing all but 1 or 2 possible drones with 1.5 minutes to go. Not the case for Penta so far.
So Going into the second half, Penta seem to be in a pretty comfortable lead. They're gonna win a lot of
10
fights
seconds
against
remaining.
G2, and a lot of that, as you stated, due to their excellent drone play.
5 seconds left.
But now they won't have the advantage of drones. And as we've talked about many times
Attackers
before,
are heading
Penta
out to defuse a bomb.
are much better on attack than they are on defense so far in this tournament. So if G2 are able to use the Montaigne that was left unbanned to their advantage well enough, we might see this comeback from G2, and we might go all the way to that 2-0 victory in their favor, yet still. There'll be a start with a clear into CCTV. Fabian droning Pengu into this location. Gonna be calling out that cafeteria break room is clear, allowing Pengu to push into the right. It's a C4 from Ravon, though, onto Fabian by the east stairs to get an early lead again for Penta. They've been so consistent in getting that first frag of the round, and it's gonna come out once more. The default cam actually will detect Giannis before he's able to take it out. Good information collection from Pengu, or Penta rather. And Pengu actually at the same time.
It can be both.
Yeah.
It could be both.
Both of them are collecting excellent information. As you can see, Pengu peeking his way into office will call out the Jaeger in the east corner.
Now, because they know where G2's push is coming from, you just saw an ADS get sent down by the Jaeger just to try and possibly burn any projectiles or frag grenades that could get tossed over. Now, we know G2's lineup. We know there's no frag grenades there, but there's smokes at the hands of Pengu. And while they might have spotted Sir Boss playing by the wall, very difficult to see that Monty execute well. There'll be a triple push, and Jonas through the smoke takes out Panics as Sir Boss had been removed as well just a moment prior. So leaving G2 in the driver's seat in a 4v3 with just a little over a minute to go in this round.
We do have one player from Penta under the site, but that's gonna be enemy. No C4s, just an impact. He could still deny the plant, but it's gonna be through sheer force of will and doing that impact correctly. Hopefully he has the information to place it in the right location to then follow it up with some shots to eliminate the attempted plant once it eventually comes out from, I'm sure, Pengu. Though he does have a smoke to cover the rotation. Cantor Raketti gonna get Ravon as Ravon attempted to flank, but Jonas has been downed in that engagement, and that's gonna put it into a 3-on-2. Penta's still very much in this. One gas canister left for Hungry. He could deny the plant, but it's going to be very difficult. Smoke and firebolts coming out from Jonas to try and deny the rotation. And enemy has found a flank. Nobody watching this as the diffuser goes down. Cantor Raketti, though, will turn around and get the final kill. G2 take it. Penta's still in the lead, but G2 fighting back. We're one round away from evening this out.
It's really good execute there, and then even better post-plant as you had a ton of tools at your disposal for G2. You still had the Montaigne. And unless there's a significant numbers advantage in favor of the defenders, it's very tough to beat a Montaigne, even in a 1v1 situation on a post-plant. So
in a 1 versus 1, if the diffuser is down, Montaigne should never lose. I mean, even if you've got the perfect operator count, maybe you're a smoke and you've got all 3 gas canisters. First of all, if you have all 3 gas canisters and the diffuser has been planted, you failed. But also, even if you're a smoke, you have all 3 gas canisters. It's still hard to deal with a Montaigne in a 1v1.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, unless there's 2.
Yeah.
Unless you have a significant numbers advantage, or even just a numbers advantage of 1, it's very difficult for Montaigne to deal with that. You basically have to, gang up on him. Usually, because what the Montaigne will do is just basically sit in the corner and watch. You have 7 seconds to get the diffuser down. Montaigne will drop his shield for just a second. You have to come off the plant. Basically, at that point, it becomes a game of whack-a-mole as you try to hit Montaigne as he opens and lowers that shield. So,
all right, back to Armory for Penta. Now, G2 were able to win on Armory. Their problem was they could not win on ventilation or tellers, the other 2 sites that they tried. If Penta aren't able to have 1 site that they can reliably get wins on, then this is already a done deal. Something they're gonna have to fight for here in this round. If G2 are able to bring it again, get a nice even 4-4, and Penta, I'm sure, will have to reevaluate what site they want to go to. Now, G2 bringing the Montaigne once more. Going for that shield, and Pengu did some great work on Montaigne in the last round. Really able to call out a lot of information.
It's really hard to give Pengu praise for one operator over another because he does tend to be one of those players that's just so flexible on everything he does.
He can play anything.
But he might be the best Montaigne in Pro League.
You know, honestly, if you take a step back and think about it, you're probably right.
He's probably the best Montaigne in Pro League, which is wild to think with somebody like him that does so well on so many different roles. But let's transition into this. It's been a minute, and an impact nade actually looks like it thwarted the first round of Xkeros from Goga, so he will now be deprived of a possible kill hole opened up on the other side of that opening. 2 of those Xkeros rams will go onto the armory wall, and enemy. Oh man, that was not a fun experience for him, I'm sure. Explosions below, explosions across, and then gets hit with the asphyxiating bolt. Now, these Xkeros actually doing a very poor job of going off. This means that G2 are going to have to just simply go through that armory door because they don't have that open wall at their disposal.
It was the impacts, I believe, from Hungary that was able to deny some of those Xkeros. So great job to him, if indeed it was him.
It does look that way because you've got the opening in the small office and the opening all the way down to the other part of the armory wall.
Gas canisters from Hungary as well will be denying the push into A. Fabian will take down Ravon, though, on said push, and Jonas looking to disrupt this using the information that Pengu is providing, but the Yokai drone is making his job oh so difficult, and he will be felled by Hungry, who has been doing so much in this round. The defuse plant going down by Pengu, and there is a Yokai drone on him, but out of ammunition is not able to deny it, and Goga will land the shot on Panix, who's making for the push. Good cover here from Goga, and he really needs to see success here. It's just Sir Boss in a 1 versus 3, pushes the hallway, aware of the IQ of Fabian, and gets an easy headshot. We talked about how difficult this scenario is, and there's even a backup for G2 in Goga. Despite having low HP, really the star of the show is going to be Pengu, as there's little to nothing that Sir Boss can do to win this 1 versus 1, let alone a 1 versus 2, especially as the extra damage is coming from Goga, putting Sir Boss on low HP. You can see that Pengu has opportunities to get kills here, but he's not risking it until it is a sure thing. Nothing Sir Boss could have done there. Excellent job on the lockout from Pengu and G2 as a whole.
Yeah, if there's anything that's harder than 1v1ing a Montaigne, it's 1v2ing a Montaigne.
Especially in a post plant.
Especially in a post plant, right? So that was it. And they just played that well, as you just needed Pengu to sit there and just essentially act as the gigantic drone that he is to a certain extent.
You know, and on that note, I never really thought about it, but Pengu might actually just, he's probably the best Montaigne.
Thank you for taking 2 minutes to figure it out and come back to me.
There was just a lot of action. That was an exciting round. I really wanted to point out, it's like, I never thought about that because you're right. Pengu is such a versatile player. He can play pretty much anything, but I don't remember anybody playing Montaigne better than him.
I feel like later tonight when we're seated at dinner, you're just going to look up in the middle of a conversation and be like, you know what?
Attackers need to
I really think you are right. I do think that Pengu is the best Montaigne in Pro League. And then, when we're in the studio doing rehearsals for Pro League, you're going to see a disc and be like, you know when you said Pengu was the best Montaigne in Pro League? You know, I think you were right.
It's going to be, I'm going to do some research and I'm going to find out somebody who somehow plays Montaigne better than Pengu.
You're going to come like, you're going to have a binder full of spreadsheets. I have tracked every Montaigne over the last 7 seasons.
Turns out that this guy is better.
Turns out that somebody played him only twice, and well, by Jove, he was better.
No, but Pengu does very often play Pengu.
I mean, technically, you're correct in that. Pengu does often play as Pengu in games.
Very commonly.
He does.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes,
he's changed his alias, but never in Pro League.
When Fabian does well, Fabian is the one who's actually playing as Pengu that time, so.
No, actually, I was gonna keep that one going, but we're just gonna kill it now. Penta putting an early lead up, but G2 able to bring the comeback, and it's not over yet for either team. As you can see, 4-4, still anyone's match. But I really like that we're seeing Penta seriously fighting back on border. The first map looked pretty one-sided, not gonna lie, not so here.
This is 2 successful attacks on the Armory. I think it's a good call to go downstairs to Ventilation Workshops. It's just, it doesn't work out, try somewhere else. And at least your entry is going to be very similar, but I don't think G2 was anticipating a bandit trick. Some of their wires got crossed there to a certain extent.
Now that is going to upset the take into Armory wall, but we've seen this before from G2. In fact, we saw it in the last round. G2 seriously struggling with taking into Armory wall by virtue of the wall, but they managed to make it work because they have the Montaigne. You don't have to open up everything if you've got a shield in front of you. Pengu putting in that very same work once again.
Some remodeling being done too with 90 seconds. It's always nice to see that teams have enough wherewithal to be able to realize that the pressure that's going to come from the attackers will warrant some deviation from the strategy you were running. But it's a complete pivot from G2 now as they take control of Archives and begin to march into Armory. This is a bad place for Pengu to be in, and he knew it too with that Gumine in his foot. He'll get shredded from Panics, now dropping ADS, the final one. That will keep the defenders safe, playing inside a small office. And Hungry will anchor that position down alongside Panics. They'll have the drop if they need to get back at any point. Rare opportunity there for Kanto to get a kill onto Panics up above. So still situated in a position where obviously taking out the smoke is not going to be a priority as Hungry has fallen off. And a bit of wasted utility actually here from Jonas. He doesn't have any idea where he's under fire from. It's going to be below in that opening. It's going to hit a Gumine as well. He's positioned so well by Ravon to just try and impede G2 every step of the way.
I was surprised that Pengu did not see Panics in the corner. The refrag did come out, though belated. But Montaigne, of course, a huge driving force for G2. Hungry will eliminate Jonas, and another one for Revan as Fabian goes down. Just Cantor, Kitty, and Goga in bathroom. See that it's a challenge onto Kanto, who will down that player, but eventually died to Hungry. He did some great work in that round. Penta take another one and regain their lead 5-4.
I give a pretty good argument here that if Penta ends up winning this whole thing, that Hungry will be the series MVP and probably the tournament MVP as well. Not just fragging extraordinarily well on support operators, but doing so while also IGLing. All of those things together, it's a pretty potent mix.
Now, Hungry definitely individually a formidable force, but again, as I stated, I think that the thing that makes Penta so strong as a team is just that. They are genuinely a team. They work well together. They have excellent synergy, especially on attack, as we've seen many times before, thanks to the ability to drone out their opponents before they engage and relay that information.
Need to locate and
now,
defuse as many bombs as they
defense has always been a struggle for them. They've managed to get that last round's win. Why? I have to credit it all to Panics. Hungry did a lot of work individually, but Panics was the one to take down the shield, the Montaigne from Pengu. And it was a little bit of a sneaky play, I gotta be honest. I didn't think it was gonna work. I thought Pengu was gonna spot him out, but it worked. So that's, you know, in the end, that's all that matters. Now,
I mean, the big thing as well was that not only were they able to bandit trick the XKROs, which prompted G2 to move over and take the archive side of things. But with Montaigne pushing in, it was Hungry who sent out 2 of those toxic babes. That completely stopped the advance, forced G2 to have to reposition themselves, which then allowed Panics to be able to get back. And, well, I mean, he along with Hungry took out Pengu. A big part of that too was also the Gumine that stopped Pengu. He knew that he'd be vulnerable, so he had to pull the needle out of his foot. So it's really just a situation where it was a three-way tie for most effective defender in that regard. Then after that, it was all Hungry. He was able to smoke it out even further with the gas canister, toxic canister, before getting back down to the site below.
not all over yet. As G2 have transitioned away from the Montaigne, I can hear Pengu saying, I want to be able to kill people. And he is certainly capable of doing that. And again, that's why you don't usually think about him as the best of anything, is that he's just, he can do everything. Now, this time he will be playing Buck. trying to open up some holes from below through that window and disable the half wall as a position. Definitely a good call, and the typical thing that you would see a Buck do in this scenario. Lots of marks coming out there from G2's drones. Looks like Pengu's gonna try and establish himself on ventilation balcony, and this gives you a good line of sight to cut off rotation between A and B.
This exceedingly colorful lineup is also very common on Coastline. It suits very well for any map where you know you're gonna have to do lots of vertical and horizontal destruction. That's exactly where it comes from here. And I think with IQ, whether you bring breaching charges or you keep a Claymore, I'd suspect there's probably gonna be a Claymore on her. But it gives you such an opportunity to just open everything up to your advantage while still giving you plenty of opportunity as well to execute. Of course, you're gonna have the asphyxiating bullets and the smoke from Capitao, and then any kind of gadget denial that IQ will have. Also bodes well for G2 that there's going to be an IQ, or there's going to be a pulse rather to go against that IQ, and the Jaeger basically gets baited at this point, and Kanto gets so hurt trying to deal with Office, and a great shot. Sir Boss will not be stopped. Pengu and Fabian both down with enemy, getting the second kill. Hungry is there to take Kanto, but the diffuser plants successfully. It's a 5v1. Jonas will need to pull off the most marvelous post-plant that we've ever seen. He'll start with 2, Jonas, but the diffuser is in a position where he might not be able to stop that successful anti-diffuse. Waiting to see where the Capitao is going to be. He's prone, and Penta will move to match point. Excellent job from Penta. They have looked so good here on border.
Defender mission successful.
Definitely looking like a force to be reckoned with right now as they go to, as you say, match point. So close to beating G2 on at least one map. Now, they're gonna have to put 2 together if they want to win the series though, of course, and since they've already lost, they are the ones feeling the pressure to get this win here. G2, on the other hand, I'm sure will be very comfortable going on to Clubhouse as the 3rd map. G2 is certainly capable of winning the next 2 rounds, but here's something interesting. They're second-guessing themselves. They brought the Montaigne once more. That's not good for G2. The fact that they have to double back on their decisions, kind of surprising. It's gonna be customs for Penta. It's the potentially final site.
To locate and defuse bombs.
I am actually amazed that the way G2 played that, they're able to get that diffuser down amidst completely Penta's 5 defenders being completely unaware of how sneaky they were being. Now, it's going to be the first time that we see customs. G2 decided to not come here. Entirety of their defense. Give us a good view into the way that Penta plays this. So just by nature of the site rotation, they got to come here. They're on match point. Armory opens up if they fail to win this. That's okay. They've actually got enough breathing room. They don't have to worry about overtime. G2 takes this round. Penta goes to Armory on match point, knowing that they can still close things out on probably the most favorable site for the defenders. Though, also worth noting that Armory was lost twice.
They won it one time. I mean,
actually, no, Armory's actually open right now.
Yeah,
Armory's actually open. They never won Armory, so they could have gone back to Armory. They're going to customs on their own. Penta.
Didn't they just win Armory? Just now?
Bomb located
Oh, that's
by
right.
attackers.
I thought it was Vents. I had written down that it was Vents.
They won Vents the last time, remember? It was what put them to 5, and then Armory put them to 6, I'm pretty sure.
My brain has escaped me today.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, it was Armory because they planted upstairs.
All right, yeah. So, they can't go to Armory. They did lose it twice. They won it one time.
I was incorrect.
They're going to Customs as their 3rd site because they've won 2 in a row, Ventilation and Armory. Sensible, I think. It's either Customs or Tellers. Both are... Oh, no. All right, so escaping from that conversation, enemy goes undroned in offices, and he could very easily find the flank of not only Pengu, but potentially even more of the G2 players. The patience here from enemy could absolutely pay off if he just waits a little bit longer. He is behind 3 attackers. He's about to encounter his first one, though. It's Kantaraketi who goes down, and enemy will take that and run away. Nice and easy back home. And a free kill for Pengu as he sprays through the window. Fabian also eliminates enemy as he attempts to retreat back to site. So the flank for the castle was great, but I gotta say that was even better.
I mean, it was worthwhile, and he knew that he had an opportunity for one kill. That's why the hatch was opened up, so he could be able to get away as best as he could. Fabian's gonna catch out Revan here, and Customs is just not going in favor of the defense as they expected. It's just Hungry and Sir Boss left. Now, the two newest members to the squad that joined the last DreamHack, Pengu is just going through an entire field of barbed wire, and very well played as he manages to escape with a fraction of health. He's gonna get down. He goes prone, a bit of a puzzling decision, thinking that he might be able to win that fight bang on, but he's not gonna get it. Nitro Cell from Sir Boss gets tossed a little bit too early, expecting somebody to be playing by that window inside of supply, possibly going for the defuse, but that's not there. Hungry will lose the protection of the castle barricade by the main doors. And well, he's gonna be able to out-duel the Capitao. It's a trade, so he'll finish it, secure what was a kill earlier, and down earlier. Goga finishing off Hungry, and now Sir Boss is here. He's gonna see the IQ. Oh, he's gonna get it. This is very winnable. Sir Boss on match point in a 1v1 with Goga and just a tiny bit of HP for Sir Boss. Sitting on drone, and he's gonna go for a long rotate as he goes in towards Workshop. But Goga will say, no sir, no clutch. Back to Armory. Penta can go, still on match point, but G2 almost throwing that one away, and Penta just didn't have that magic touch for the clutch.
Very close here to a map 3, but we're also just as close to overtime. It's gonna take one round from either team to get what they want. Wow, Sir Boss, probably 13 frags. I think it was Hungry as well with 13. Yes, indeed, look at that. Very impressive, and this is what we've been talking about from Penta for a long time. Throughout this entire tournament, the thing that really makes them stand apart is their ability to win fights against pretty much anyone. And it's not, again, it's not an individual thing. You saw Enemy there with only, 3 kills right now. He's been struggling, but he will stand up when it's necessary. The frags are just going to his teammates at this moment in time. And that does happen from time to time. So, ventilation, potentially the last bomb site on this map.
I like that they did this, by the way.
What's that?
Number one, I figured out why I thought that they hadn't won Armory.
Okay.
Because in the column in which I write down what site they won, I had actually left it blank.
Big whoops.
So I didn't write it down. Then I moved all the other ones down. Anyway, they've lost Armory twice. They won it once.
10 seconds
Yeah.
left.
Go to Vents where you've won every time. Obviously, you had a better look. And honestly,
5 seconds left before
from what I
insertion.
saw at a Penta, they looked so much stronger on Vents. It's not even about Armory being a site that you can possibly flip the coin on and say, okay, we won it last time, maybe we can do it again. It looked shaky on Armory every single round. So.
Yeah, they certainly did. I think that was a big part of why this match
Except
is
for
so
when it was like a
close.
5v1.
Yeah, if G2 had been able to win on ventilation, it's the same thing, really. You know, G2 couldn't win any defense except for Armory. That's the only thing they managed to get out of their first
That is
half.
correct.
So if maybe that had been a little bit different, then maybe the outcome would, well, the rounds would be a little bit different, and we might see Penta the ones up against a wall. But no, it's the other way around. G2 are the ones that need to push this to overtime. Thermite will be successful, but again, this is not the bomb site. Important to remember. They are managing to use a lot of utility here. The gas canisters from the smoke of Hungry will be expended, but just one so far. Thank you. Obviously going to be calling information as much as he can. He can't push in because he has to be wary of the crossfire. We've seen Hangu die to a crossfire that he was unaware of before, and he obviously wants to be a little bit more cautious moving forward. He's going to drone for himself, actually. Definitely the right call to check and make sure. He will detect Hungry in the half wall, and it looks like a little bit of near half damage done to Hungry, whether by the pistol or the firebolt.
2 firebolts now that he's managed to not die from. This is a lot. There's going to be an explosion from...
Possibly the Ash charge.
Yeah, the Ash charge going off, and it's Hungry's still there. I don't know if they might have thought they downed him, and a great crossfire from Sir Boss, and an impact grenade onto Pengu. This is falling apart. The Hungry finally goes down. Enemy takes out Jonas as Goga is there, and Pengu will need a reset at some point.
Wow, that massive job down there by Hungry. Honestly, it's all thanks to him staying alive in that half wall, distracting and allowing for the crossfire to happen that really destroyed the flanks of G2. And you're right, Pengu needs to get reset. The Legion Trap will down him, and I'm sure he'll be picked up quite swiftly. Unless it's called out, there could be an explosion from below that could net 2 easy kills right now, but it's not gonna happen. And Penta still very comfortable in this round, potentially, again, the very last one.
Penta's in a great position to send us off towards Clubhouse for map number 3. It's something that I'm sure everybody wants to see between these teams now, as this has become a very scarily close match if you're G2, and for us, an entertaining one. Villa looked very different, but there's Pengu. Take out enemy, you can hear the telltale screams of Castle, but Pengu's run will be shut down by Sir Boss. Watching as Pengu vaults in, Goga falls, and Fabian will need a 1v3. He takes one, he drops. Doesn't know where the position of the rest of them are. They have Diffuser down, and he's gonna have to just go in blind. He sees the Jaeger, and he'll go frag chasing, but no time! Penta Sports takes map 2. We will need